The next 5 years is going to tell the tale. Will we enter the golden age of enlightenment sooner than later, or are we going to have to struggle for several more decades before we get there? In this video, I'll explain what humanity's golden age is, what my vision for the future is, and how we can start to create heaven on earth together now. So firstly, the golden age has been prophesied from everything from Nostradamus to Revelations to Mayan prophecies, and the list goes on, where there was going to be some shifts or cataclysms, but that's going to be followed by humanity's golden age or 1,000 years of enlightenment, depending on which prophecy you see. But they're all saying the same things in their own ways, and it's happening now. And we also call it New Earth. So this is going to happen through collective awakening, and that's the key. So I'm going to share my vision of what I'm seeing for New Earth, for the golden age, why I feel like it's only years in the making and around the corner, and things that we can do, that you can do for yourself, for your spiritual growth, for humanity, in order to facilitate this. So let me check in with my notes here. So here's part of my vision. Firstly, I'm seeing a lot of reforms that are going to develop in the educational system. Less labeling of children, less one size fits all, and rather more organic training of children in childhood development through education. New techniques for the teachers, and I feel also that the right brain development is going to be equal to the left brain development. So in other words, right now it's 90% left brain, reading, math, history, all that stuff, only 5 to 10% right brain. And I feel like, so that's going to include much more art, much more abstract and creative thinking as opposed to empirical thinking. Again, it's a balance. Remember, Albert Einstein said that the road to true genius is through the intuition, and everybody has the potential to be a genius, but we're only using a small percentage of our brain. So in this new earth, in this new education, we're going to learn how to develop the whole brain and train all of our children to be geniuses, to be connected to spirit and to source, and to make a positive difference in the world. Knowledge of how to raise children to become geniuses. So I also see unifying rather than centralizing a power as part of the vision. So currently there's an agenda by the powers that be, the cabal, deep state, whatever you want to call them, to centralize power. And what that means is that all the power is given to a very small governing body. But when you unify power, you're creating unity of power, power for all, power for the people, by the people. So there's a subtle but huge difference in unifying versus centralizing. So this is going to ratify a lot of the corruption. This is going to create a lot of reforms, and it's going to give power back to the people, and so forth and so on. So I see changes in the borders of countries. I feel like there's going to be like a world, I don't know if we call it a government, a world body, as it were. I feel like there'll still be countries, but the borders will change, and things like that. So I also see a lot of changes in the financial system that may resemble what's being now called the quantum financial system, that starts by bringing currency back to a gold or precious metal standard, but it also helps to unify the exchange rate or maybe eliminate exchange rates altogether. A lot of abundant resources I see being created, like right now, because of the centralization of power and the power over others and so forth. We see basically a lot of hunger and a lot of poverty in the world, but it's unnecessary. We have both the resources, land, and know-how to feed this world 10 times over, yet more than half the world's hungry. So these are part of the reforms in the financial system, as well as the human systems in general, to help everybody, to bring people more together, to create more of a global community, more of a harmony between different ideas, ideologies, religions, schools of thoughts, etc. Honoring our differences, but finding what's alike. Elimination of debt-based society, debt-based thinking. That's we're all programmed to think in terms of lack and debt rather than abundance and assets, basically. So I think a lot of these changes in currency, how things are valued, free trade, maybe all that kind of stuff plays in. Um, Also, I'm seeing like a virtual elimination of war. Hopefully, it'll be literal, but at least a virtual elimination. Corruption being exposed on a grand level. Yeah, war now is profitable, so that's part of it. Change into politics. There might be a third party that's introduced or an elimination of the two-party system that basically slows down progress and just kind of polarizes things. It has one group against another group. So again, that's part of the unification of power and the unification of politics that goes in with that. I see huge advances in science and medicine. Most diseases being eradicated or the process thereof happening. Technology used to enhance rather than replace human biology. So I feel like technology is a huge part of the awakening also, but it being used properly, basically. I see a lot of flourishing in the art, the intellect, the sciences, spiritual values exalted in the society. You're learning how to use like energy healing. You're learning how to use our energy or connect with energy, chi, prana, in order to create our reality. We do that anyway. We're just not conscious of it. Discoveries of who we are as spirit, discovering what they call the God code that exists in all of our cells, how to awaken dormant DNA so that we can tap into superhuman, even biblical human abilities that only the saints and the masters up until now were able to exhibit, like Jesus. Think of the miracles of Jesus, for example. How to activate our dormant DNA. I'm seeing governing, thriving community down the world, a return to more of the indigenous values and how indigenous people lived, only with the modern technology incorporated into that. I'm seeing people happy, people thriving, people getting along. I see love being valued over differences. I'm seeing a lot of community, a lot of togetherness with the world, and things of that nature. A lot of modern advances. I'm seeing open knowledge and interaction with extraterrestrials, our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters. Possible technology exchanges. I see them as well as our interdimensional guides, the ascended masters, and so forth, assisting in our awakening and the creation of our new earth or the golden age. I see more education and interaction with spiritual intelligence. It's like learning about our guides, easier access to our spiritual guides, the angels, the archangels, the extraterrestrial guides, direct connection with God, spirit, or source, and stuff like that. So the question is, what can we do now to facilitate these changes in our lives? And the more that we do that and the more people that do that, the more that's going to facilitate the changes and growth in society so that we can step into the golden age in a matter of years rather than decades. We can learn how to raise our frequencies right now, right? And how do we do that? Through laughter, through opening the heart, through choosing love, compassion, and good energies, and being the observers of when we have negative reactions so that we can clear those quickly, like anger, that kind of thing. Taking responsibility for our own action is going to be huge. In other words, what we think and feel changes the energies around us and affects other people. So we have to take responsibility, not always see it the other person's fault. Know that our energy rubs off on others as other people's energies rub off on us. You can't avoid negative. You can avoid negative people because there's a lot of negativity in the world. But you can choose how you respond to that. You can learn to be open, not close off what you're feeling or your empathic nature, but rather opening that up. And understanding discomfort's not a bad thing, but learning how you can transmute that into higher energies and positivity. And by doing that starts to mitigate negativity of others and helps them to heal. So here's a few exercises, practices that are going to be helpful for that. Firstly, presence and meditation is extremely important. We need to learn how to still our minds of our thoughts, because it's our thoughts, our programming, how we see ourselves, but primarily our thoughts fuel that. We have 65,000 per day, according to psychologists. That's a lot of monkey mind, right? So when we learned how to meditate, we learned how to still our minds. And when we learn presence, we take our meditation into the world. And then we're more the observers of ourselves, how we react, and we see beyond our personal perspective through presence and start to see through our spiritual perspective the dynamics of what goes on in the society, what goes on with other people. And then we step into a higher power and we're able to make a positive difference, to help others, to heal others, to guide others, to teach others, to be new earth teachers and way showers and light workers and stuff like that. Next extremely important thing is learning how to do what I call heart, brain, spirit coherence. Almost what's the word? That's a tongue twister, right? So heart-brain coherence is extremely as important, as it's the collective heart frequency that changes the collective thinking. So when we bring our hearts into vibrational coherence, which is love, which is gratitude. I have a playlist on this also, as well as a playlist on shadow work. Do heart-brain coherence, but when you bring your heart into vibrational coherence, the brain locks into coherence, and when the heart and the brain are coherent, they feed off of each other because they're really two parts of the same whole. They both get more powerful. Then we increase our energy, we increase our fields, and then we start to blend more with spirit, and then we start to understand who we are as spirit. And then we have awakenings. We help others with awakenings, and that changes everything. Also, do breath work. Breathing is so important. Different styles of breath work change the energy flows within us and around us. We can learn to heal ourselves. We can accelerate our awakening. We can do so much with breath work. Yoga is very good. I have I'll flash that above I have one video. I'm going to do another because I got new ascension exercises for you. But the first one is above, and it incorporates breath and movement. And I did this live, and right at the end of the live, there's this huge thunderbolt. I think my house even got hit, or the tree right next to my house. Power went out as soon as I stopped doing the exercises. So anyway, the ascension exercise set, that is huge because that's going to incorporate flow, movement, visualization, as well as breath work. Basically, learn to feel the flow when you step out of your thoughts, when you start to become present, when you open your heart and your brain to spirit, you start to feel energy and prana. And when you get more familiar with that, you learn how to move that in order to make changes in your body, to help others to heal, to make changes in your life, and all that kind of stuff. Let me see. Is there any more? Get healthy and stay healthy. Yes, I have another page here. Continue to learn, study, and grow. Most importantly is change your energy to feed the collective. Learn shadow integration, how to change your programming, how to change your vibration. Integrate the old shadows into power, into infinity, basically. So I have a whole playlist on that also. I have the resources on the channel to do all of this stuff. Plus, there's many other great teachers out there. So yeah, of course, I'm not the only game in town. So the next thing is the next 5 years are going to be hugely important. This is our transition into the golden age of enlightenment, new earth, and all that. So be as impeccable with your spiritual awakening as possible, and be impeccable with how you treat others. Sure, you'll have bad days. You'll go into reaction. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight, but set that intention. If enough people awaken, it changes the collective, it changes the thought processes of everyone, including the world leaders, and reforms will happen, again, sooner than later. That's the key, is for you to awaken, for you to make the positive changes in your life, in your energy, and to help others to do the same. And that's how we're going to shift into the golden age much more quickly than may be possible. I have to say, from what I've been getting, I do a lot of predictive work. Not all of it's accurate, but I think part of it is we're changing the timelines by changing our conscious fields, and that's mitigating some of the negative and challenges of what's coming as we transition into higher consciousness, and making the transition to happen quicker. So it's really, really up to us, I want to say. And the more that awaken, the more we assist others in their spiritual growth without forcing it, obviously. Only work with those that are teachable and reachable. Don't waste your energy. But the more we do that, the faster and easier the shift to New Age will happen. So the next 5 years are crucial. So therefore, I have a video right over here for you about what I'm seeing happening intuitively over the next 5 years, and more information on what we can do to make positive changes. So that's what I have for you. I love you. See you at the next video. Namaste.